Good morning, allihopa. That's it, guys. The rest of the presentation is going to be in Italian. Hope you don't mind coming back from vacations, maybe some memories of warm places, but I see the weather is fantastic here. So thank you for the invitation, Magnus, and thank you to Internet World for having us here. The overarching theme we've been working at Forrester, my team, is about digital disruption. And in particular today, I'm going to share with you some of our recent research about one specific aspect of digital disruption that I think sometimes we underestimate. Something that we call the mobile Mindshift. And it's important to underscore mobile. You will start to go back to the back of the room and take a coffee because you're like, yeah, we know everything about mobile. Come on, we are in the middle of Scandinavia, one of the highest mobilized regions in the world. I think they didn't like my presentation. So what is new about it? Well, there's something new about technology, as you can see, that we want to share with you. So let's start from maybe, I'm sure actually, being in Sweden here, some very established facts. For example, this picture. I think you've seen it several times, possibly. This is the day when Pope John II died. And as a Catholic Italian, of course, I can empathize with all these people in the middle of the street of Rome. If you can look really here in the corner, you see? There's one person with one mobile phone taking a picture. And the model, it's quite unbelievable, it's a clamshell. So I don't know how many of you ever owned a clamshell in Europe. Very few. Normally there are Americans that live in Europe. So this was the picture when John Paul II died, so not many people using this. This is similar situation when we got the new Pope, very internet and Twitter savvy, if you're following him. I think it's quite, shall we say, interesting, not to upset anybody. But the situation is quite different. And I think everybody knows this. I know it, you know it, and nothing new there. So why are you bothering with this, Luca? I don't know. Also, we are very rational, so we know what is happening. This is driven by a shift, dramatic shift, that is happening very fast in platforms. And, you know, shipments of smartphones are overtaking the shipment of PCs. Ask your friends in Finland, particularly in Espoo, why they think they become employees of this company based out of Seattle. That is why, basically, they've been bought out. Mobile traffic is expected to surpass traditional web traffic in the next few years or months. And if you've seen the stock price of Facebook, it's basically due to the fact they realized that also social traffic is moving to the mobile platform. So this is all nothing new here. I think I would expect that most of you would agree with this, and it's happening very fast, very good. But I think we are possibly missing an aspect that is very interesting. It's very good to focus on shipments, platforms, the latest Android, what is happening to BlackBerry, and so on and so forth. Very important, don't get me wrong. Let's not forget about something that we noticed changing more dramatically. There is something about us. You, me, your consumers, your colleagues, everybody. Let's have a look at a few interesting data. So we have this data that say 84% of Europeans keep their phone always within a radius of 3 meters, just in case. And this is all the time. Or the average person checks the phone at least 150 times on average. So it means that you have people that do a bit more, like your colleague that is not very productive, 150 times a day. That's a bit insane. But this is important to understand because this relationship, this platform, is the first time we have a platform that has this kind of behavior from people. Even more, this is not from us, from a Lookout, a qualitative research. What happens when people misplace their phone? Well, a lot of people panic. A lot are desperate. People are actually calling the doctors and like, oh, Jesus, I'm feeling sick. How many of you are relieved? Oh, yeah. Right, 6%. Yeah. I am one of them. I'm very old, and I'm a total digital immigrant, so I don't belong to this situation. But apart from the joke, you understand what I'm trying to aim? It's really a relationship that is mental, emotional. And then for us, as Forrester, we always cover the hard facts about, the platforms, Android, BlackBerry, Microsoft, Nokia. But when we see, this is a comic from the New Yorker. It's a very posh kind of magazine that they publish in New York. And when at Forrester we see the cartoon in the New Yorker talking about a technology changing behavior, this is the moment that we say, okay, guys, we need to write something about this because it's in the New Yorker. So we say, okay, fine. This came out a few months ago in the New Yorker. Said, okay, we have to do some research. And that's how we do research. If you ever wondered, we just read the New York. So moving to the serious stuff, what I'm trying to aim is I think we need to understand that the shift is not only a platform shift, a standard shift, a usage shift, a connectivity shift. The technology is enabling a change in the behavior of people and the expectations that they have, not only with the platform and the tool, but with the brands that are interacting on the platform. So that's why we think this is extremely disruptive. So what we call it, because we have to brand it, just to make it clear for everybody, we call it the mobile mind shift. It's the expectation that we all have to have the right information relevant for me, customized at the right place, at the right moment when I want it. This is a lot about me, but this is really real. You appreciate and like and talk about to your friends positively of the application that do deliver this. This is what you expect from a good mobile experience. This is a tall order. As much as I love it as a consumer, if I change the point of view and when I walk into the office in the morning, I say, I love these mobile applications. I sit down at my desk and say, shit, sorry, this is going to be very difficult because if I'm a company and I have to deliver relevant information at any time, any moment, customized, that is actionable and valuable, I'm telling you, most of our clients, and of course you are the exception in this room, they are not organized to do that by any stretch of the imagination. So I think this is where disruption is going to come. Large organizations have been organized in silos and divisions. They have all the pieces in different places with different incentives. Disruption will come from nimble organizations that are able to deliver this because they don't have a lot of legacy system to manage. This is what we think is happening, and that's why we thought it was interesting to share with you. Of course, this is the concept. We have our research. So we decided we need to dig deeper. We have a panel of millions of consumers in Europe, in Scandinavia, including Sweden as well, and America and Asia, and we did develop a series of questions. We asked them how they use the mobile phones, what they do, when they use it, what they expect, and so on and so forth. So we analyzed specifically these dynamics. First of all, we recognized that this initial phase of the study was already done in the last few years. This is the focus when we had clients that is starting to wane a bit now. They were coming to us, oh, we need to do an app. And the question was like, what for? Oh, we need to do an app. Everybody's doing it. Okay, fine. I don't think you need it, but go do it. The focus was about the device, the applications. Let's do an app. Let's be on this platform because everybody's there. So not much of understanding actually why we were there in the first place, just following the new thing. Then after a while, people got burned and say, actually, to pull something interesting here, I need not only to activate the application on the platform, but to be relevant to my customers, I have to actually discover all the assets that I need to activate within my organization and make them accessible on a mobile platform. I'm telling you, if you're a large organization, not easy. A lot of work going on now here from our clients to understand how to tap in the different repositories of information to deliver relevant information. What we're going to focus today is instead the missing piece, we think, is how people interact and what they expect from the mobile experience. And this is the shift that is happening. On the shift, we have developed with this information we have about consumers what we call the mobile index. I'm not going to go into hyper detail here, but there are three components of the mobile mind shift. One is about how many connected devices do you have in your life, from 1 to 6. how many places in your day you access, you have mobile access with wireless connection on, and how many locations you use connectivity from. So this is a combination of basically how you access information and where you access it from your mobile platform. You compile the index, and then against a possible maximum, you get a score, which is very interesting. A score by itself, it doesn't tell us much. The interesting part is when you start to compare things. And I'll tell you, I didn't fudge the numbers. Sweden is on top. Good job, guys. Congratulations. The problem is that we've seen is twofold. I love it as a Swedish consumer. As a Swedish company, I have the highest challenge in any market, even much higher than the US. Other countries are much, much behind for a lack of connectivity or cost of connectivity or lack of device penetration, multiple device penetration. But this is interesting up to a point again. It's like, okay, we understand there are different markets, there are different behaviors, but what is interesting to understand how consumers are actually behaving in the segments, how they relate to that. So we grouped different groups of people with the low penetration of mobile Mindshift that access from multiple places, multiple devices, multiple location information. So below 40 in the index, it's actually the majority of the European population. So they are not really using the mobile platform to its potential. So we're not going to focus much on that because I think we want to focus on the rest, and we're going to spend some time there because we believe at Forrester that the rest of the population is going to tell us about the future or what's going to happen to you and me and our clients in the future. So that's what is interesting. So the adapters are roughly 10% of the European population. They use a smartphone a lot, but really at very basic application. So, but they are starting to move there because the offers are getting better, and there's a lot of big brands, like in your case, you have a very competitive market, for example, for banking application. We have a few engagements here, and we know that for a fact. Then we have another segment here that's 4%. These are the people that move from the basic application and really start to embrace mobile as a Swiss knife, if you like. They drop in the PC, the old Swiss digital knife, and this is now, the mobile is becoming the center of the digital life, increasingly. All these segments, they have a higher than average education level and higher than average income level as well. So they are very interesting for marketers and app developers in terms of revenue potential. Finally, we have the elite, or the crazy people, depends on how you look at that. These are the ones that will check more than 150 times a day their mobile phone, by the way, or the people that you invite at dinner, they will basically not talk to you because they're, you know. I'm sure it happens only in Italy, I'm sure. Never happened here. But these 2% are really, you know, hyper-connected, they tweet, that they use this platform to do everything, basically. Even very confidential information about health, financial transactions, and so on and so forth will be managed on this platform. So this is where we have to understand what is happening, because this shapes the expectation of the future. These shifted segments, what do they demand, as we find, is they want mobile utility. They don't want information. They do not want to have basic interaction. Their expectation is to have, as I said at the beginning, relevant, customized information that is designed for their situation in a specific place. And that's called mobile utility. And that's very difficult to pull off. Also interesting is that, of course, no surprise, if you look at the age groups, here there's a higher propensity for the younger part of the population to be mobile mind-shifted. No surprise here, because that's a new technology and higher technology optimists from this kind of cohorts. So at this point, Luca, thank you very much. This is very interesting. How should I use this? Why is this relevant for me? Well, good question. So I have an example we use with a client of ours in the UK. So we analyzed the client base of Sky, the satellite digital cable operator in the UK. And we noticed with them that actually their mobile Mindshift base was more or less in line with the UK population. So you will say, well, actually, this is not really interesting then, if we have more or less the same penetration of the rest of the market. Well, not. Let's have a look at some analysis we've done for them. We discovered with them that, if we compare the average income of the mobile Mindshift part of the customer base, it's higher. They have a much higher propensity to also adopt high-definition television services and also to adopt DVRs. So as a consequence, what they decide is that if these are the core people where actually we know we're going to get more revenues from, these are the high potential customers actually for us, we also need to acknowledge that not only they like high-definition TV and DVRs, but they have a highly mobile lifestyle. So if they buy content from us, guess what? We need to make sure we provide content everywhere they go and from any platform. So that's why they launched Sky Go. That is their new mobile tablet, wherever you are, possible access of the content you paid for. And this is a huge investment for them because they recognized that since this segment is so mobilely shifted, they needed to follow them on this platform. They couldn't just serve them on their television set. So this is just an example of how you should think about using this kind of analysis to serve your customers that are mobile shifted. So just an example from the UK. What is the deal here? If the expectations are so different from any other platform, much more demanding, the trick here is that you need to think, if you're a brand or an organization, to do what? Shorten the distance between what? Between what your customer wants and what you're able to deliver. And this is enabled by mobile utility. Again, mobile utility is not information in general terms, it's not promotions, it's not deals. If you're not able to provide utility, people will drop you like a stone. And for those of you that work and develop mobile apps, you know that the stats are dramatic. Number of apps that are actually downloaded compared to the available, tiny. Number of apps that are used after the first download, even more small. Why? Because a lot of these apps then don't provide mobile utility. And if you don't provide it, you can spend money developing your apps, and guess what? Nobody's going to use it, or very few people. So very simple set. So how to do that? We have a few examples. Number one, basic. Utility comes from solving a customer problem. We say, thank you, Luca. Very interesting. But I think a lot of stuff we see around doesn't do that. They are busy informing you about what the brand does. And frankly, I've been a marketer for a long time. Most people don't care about your brand. Let's realize that. Most people don't think as we do, night and day about your brand. Maybe once every few days. So these guys, this is an example from Johnson's Baby. They have a line of products for baby care. And they realized that with the analysis of the mobile shift index, compared to the average index of the population in the US, mothers that had children from 0 to 4 had a much higher penetration of mobile Mindshift attitude. And this is close to 30% of their potential market. So they say, this is an important piece of information. How could we deliver value to these new mothers? So, well, they started to develop an app. And they started to develop an app that was called Bedtime, and they had several features just to help, with the aim to help prepare their baby to go to bed and hopefully go to sleep. Not guaranteed, apparently. So they first had the idea, because old pediatrician will tell you, you have to keep a log of when the baby goes to bed and when he wakes up, or she wakes up. Okay, let's do that. This is what they, you must keep the log. So they did the log. It was popular, but not really popular. So they did classic agile-like development. Okay, let's try something else. Okay, we have a lot of pediatricians we know. We can have an expert online that answers questions. Oh, my baby is happening this and that. Can you reply with a suggestion? Good, better response. And then finally, they had an idea from a comment, a suggestion from the users. Why don't we put lullabies, music, to help the baby go to sleep? And this, in 3 weeks, became the most used feature of the whole app. And get what? They didn't have a repeat button. initially, because engineers, of course, it's like, most popular feature, repeat. And this has been extremely successful, 300,000 downloads in the US. Of course, you say, okay, we got this baby to sleep, good, but also we need to promote what we do. And there is a routine. Johnson's is marketing a routine of massage with baby oil and washing the baby with the baby bath and then massaging with the oil, and hopefully he's going to get to sleep. So there's a whole link with their vision. But in terms of brand association, helping me solving a problem, equity, information about how people actually use the routine they were proposing, huge. Huge value, consistent with the brand, popularity, great word of mouth. Again, they didn't have the idea that the lullabies were the first feature that worked. Agile again. Don't think that you know what's going to work. Easy to say, frankly, very easy to execute in large organizations. Another one is if you can't deliver visible value immediately with solving a big problem, you can become a trusted agent, i.e. a curator of your client's life. This is something that Mercedes launched in the US. The name is a bit scary, but it says Embrace. It's a big Mercedes is going to embrace you. And what they've done, they have, on top of the navigation layer in the car, they have a concierge service, a social layer, so you can see on the navigation where your friends are on the map, where your wife is on the map, if she wants. And they have also, the more you use the platform, the more you engage with the platform, there are other services as well. And you put comments, you create a social layer on top of the information that you have, the more you gain minutes. And this is linked to a big loyalty scheme. So it's interesting because if you think about it, Mercedes is realizing that the future of transportation possibly is not going to be even driving car, it's going to be driverless car. The bond with the experience of driving is going to go away. What can I do to get more revenues as a service is to manage a captive audience when they are in the car, they can't go away, about all the possible needs, and trying to become the hub of their life as much as possible. I'm not so sure they're going to succeed, but they have the credibility because if you all love Mercedes, and there's a lot of people that love Mercedes, I don't, but you know, credit to them, you could see why Mercedes could be a legitimate curator of traveling tips, meeting in restaurants with friends, and so on and so forth, like kind of high-end curated travel experience, discovery of art experience, and so on and so forth. Very, very interesting in terms of evolution. Again, here, mobile-based in the car. The mobile is not just your device. I don't think we limit to that. This one, I think you read about it. It's another way to deliver value is to solve a problem that is, you know, to simplify life. If you are signed up in the US with the loyalty scheme for Starbucks, you can now also integrate your Square account and skip the line. In the morning, believe it or not, I don't know how Starbucks is popular here. In Italy, they don't exist. In London, they do. But if you are in New York, for example, from 8 to 9 a.m., there's huge lines of people waiting to be served, like 50, 60 people waiting to be served in Starbucks. So what they say, our loyal, faithful customers, they use our loyalty scheme, can now pre-order on the application, linked with the loyalty scheme, and pay from the phone, and their coffee with their name is going to wait for them. So 10 minutes from the shop, they order to skip the line, come in. Great value, trivial point, but you know, fantastic value. You understand what my experience is. This is my favorite one. You know, this is fantastic. This is a pizza delivery company in the US again. If you sign up and register with them on their, and you create an account, you will receive this Wi-Fi, Bluetooth-enabled device. There's a magnet you put on your fridge. And then when you configure your account, you say, what is the order of your magnet? 1 pizza, 2 pizza, what pizza? So I would put typically 3 margaritas. And then when you feel like, I really want a pizza, you just push, and the order goes. Of course, if you have kids, dangerous. But you have to put it a bit high. just to tell you that, don't think that the mobile Mindshift is happening only on the mobile. This is the Internet of Things is coming to you, and people are thinking very hard about how to deliver value. Very quickly, this, everybody knows it, not me because I don't run very much, but this is even, if you are really smart, you can even create a new market from scratch. This is the Nike Run application. And the word, the shoe connected to the mobile and so on and so forth. So this is really where we see innovation that is going to be extremely customized, geolocated, super personalized. And all the Fitbits of this world is coming. So just to summarize how you should think about delivering value, as we've seen with Johnson's solving a better customer problem, Mercedes curating for your customers if you're credible, so becoming a filter for the world that is very customized and mobile, very basic and solve a very simple problem like a queue on the Starbucks line, or even more basic with just automating a single order on the fridge with the pizza. Bigger ambition, and here's where we think the disruption piece will come. It's like you can create actually new markets. If you really think not about what I want to say and what I want to communicate, but you have an insight about a new visible value, you can deliver to your customers. So, in summary, the shift is happening. You know it because you want this to happen when you are a consumer. You want to have relevant information customized for you in the place where you are that is highly valuable from any mobile application on the car, on the phone, or on your fridge you have. This is the expectation that we all have as consumers. Careful, because when we work professionally, this is what we need to deliver. Not easy. But who's going to do it is going to gain a lot of market share. How to do this? Utility. Be honest and be serious. Every time you develop something, you say, is this delivering really utility, or is it talking about myself? If the second case is the truth, you're going to face silence. Very quiet life. Nobody's going to bother you. And then, clearly, who's going to use digital technology to empower the brands has, with these mobile utilities, is going to have the future. So hopefully that was a useful highlight of what we're busy working on and discussing with our clients. And I will be happy to take any question. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Let's stand here on this red area here. Great, thank you very much. You mentioned initially a couple of the brands that we talk about, like Apple and Nokia. You started off with that, and BlackBerry. Let's hear now. What is what do you think about the future for Nokia to start with?
The future for Nokia? Sure, you mean the future for Microsoft?
Okay, let's talk about the future for Microsoft.
Okay,
the mobile platform of Windows.
I think they've been late to the game, and they've been trying to play catch up. I think they have huge resources, so they basically had to choose either they lose the only player in the market that was still developing Windows-based applications, or they had to acquire it. So they had to acquire it. Now, is it still a viable platform in terms of is it too late? Difficult to say, but we've seen market share shift a lot. I think they need to change how they approach it because they try with the Surface. For example, is another example. It's very difficult. So let's see. The jury is out. But strategically, I understand why they've done it because that's the only hope they have.
Okay, and we know that BlackBerry was sold now just a few days ago to an investment company. Do you think that there is a future for BlackBerry as a platform in a few years' time?
That's a big if again, because bring your own into the company is becoming more and more popular. So I think there's a market for a niche into some industries where BlackBerry is very popular. How much viable it is compared to the size of the company today, difficult to say.
Okay, and finally, is there anything that is able to stop the iOS and Apple platform? I mean, we saw now again new stuff coming out, and it's a lot of interest, a lot of people buying the new iPhone 5S and C. Do you think that train is unstoppable, or do you think?
So I think I'm lucky. I think I have a mixed background from technology with Google, and also worked for Prada in fashion. Well, it's very relevant because few people understand that Apple is the first technology company that is fashionable. Fashionable. So it doesn't matter the specs. It's like, whatever is Gorilla Glass, whatever. I don't care. It's cool to have an iPhone. So guess what? If it's cool, I'm going to buy it, even if it doesn't make any sense. Second point from the technology point of view. Second point, guys, if you don't know how to pronounce Huawei, start to learn. The Chinese are coming. I think we've been underestimating not only the Koreans for a while, now people finally woke up, but the Chinese. Chinese are coming in all shapes and forms, so keep an eye on them.
Wow, interesting. Do we have any comments or questions on Twitter, Fredrik or Johan?
Yes, many people are wondering if your slides will be available afterwards, and the answer to that is we will send out slides to all you visitors.
For a small fee.
So people are very, very interested in the statistics. And then there's one direct question here. One man, I forgot his name now, who wonders, how far do you think that mobile will win over desktop computer regarding internet usage in 2020?
2020. For me, I think you have to be careful. I think I had two examples that were not classic mobile phones or smartphones. I think we've been talking about the Internet of Things at Forrester for a while. Guys, again, this is happening much faster than we think. So the thing about your fridge talking to you is not going to be clear how this thing is going to happen, but mobile is going to be more and more a mix of small devices. They're going to be around you. And if we're not careful, we don't even know they're around us. That's another debate. We can have another whole meeting like this about privacy and how to manage that.
Sure. So it's a tough question, and thank you. And maybe we have time to talk with you during lunch break.
Sure.
Sure. So thank you very much for coming. And you're going to get a present. It's going to be a cup of some sort that is. Sure, we have these two. You have a choice between the I love my computer, it's strange, and thumbs up for coffee or tea. So thank you very much for coming. You get that from my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.